For thousands of years, they've stood as silent giants in the desert, monuments to a civilization that still captures our imagination. The Great Pyramids of Giza. We look at them and ask the same question people have asked for centuries. How on earth did they build these? Today, we're diving deep into one of history's greatest engineering mysteries. Forget the wild theories for a moment, and let's explore what archaeologists and engineers believe really happened. First, let's talk scale. The Great Pyramid of Khufu alone is made of about 2.3 million stone blocks, some weighing as much as 80 tons. That's like stacking 50 cars on top of each other, and they did it all without modern cranes, trucks, or power tools. The level of precision is just staggering. The base is almost a perfect square, with sides aligning to the cardinal points of the compass with incredible accuracy. So how did they pull it off? It all starts with the planning. The ancient Egyptians were master astronomers and mathematicians. They used the stars, particularly the North Star, to align the pyramids. By tracking the rising and setting of certain stars, they could create a true north-south line. For the east-west line, they likely used a simple but effective method: a post in the ground and tracking its shadow throughout the day to create a perfect right angle. The base was leveled using a network of trenches filled with water. They'd dig the trenches, fill them, mark the water level, drain them, and then chip away the excess rock down to the marked line. Simple, genius, and incredibly effective. Now for the heavy lifting: the stones. Most of the limestone blocks came from quarries right near the Giza Plateau. Workers, not slaves as is often depicted in movies, cut these massive blocks from the bedrock. How? They would carve small channels into the stone, insert wooden wedges, and then soak the wedges with water. As the wood expanded, it would crack the stone along the desired line. They also used copper tools, like chisels and saws, which they would have to constantly resharpen, and some evidence suggests they used abrasive sand to help the saws cut through the tough limestone. Once a block was quarried, the real challenge began: moving it. For blocks from local quarries, they would be loaded onto huge wooden sledges. To make dragging these sledges easier, they wouldn't have just pulled them over dry sand. A painting found in a tomb shows a person pouring water onto the sand in front of the sledge. This simple act reduces the friction dramatically, making it possible for a team of workers to pull enormous weights. It's a brilliant example of their practical problem-solving skills. But what about the special stones? The gleaming white casing stones that originally covered the pyramids came from Tura, across the Nile. The massive granite beams for the inner chambers came from Aswan, over 500 miles away. These were transported on the Nile River using large wooden boats. They would quarry the stones in the dry season and wait for the annual Nile flood. The floodwaters would rise, bringing the river closer to the quarries and the pyramid site, creating a natural highway for these massive cargo ships. Imagine seeing dozens of boats sailing down the Nile, each carrying a multi-ton block of granite. It must have been an incredible sight. Okay, so the stones are at the construction site. Now for the biggest question of all: how did they get them up the pyramid? This is where the debate really heats up, and there isn't one single universally accepted answer. The most popular and widely supported theory is the use of ramps. But what kind of ramp? One idea is a long, straight ramp that went directly up one side of the pyramid. The problem is, for a pyramid as tall as Khufu's, the ramp would have needed to be over a mile long to maintain a manageable slope. It would have contained almost as much material as the pyramid itself, and would have been a massive construction project to build and then dismantle. So, other theories have emerged. Another possibility is a spiral ramp that corkscrewed around the outside of the pyramid as it was built. This solves the length problem, but it would have made surveying and maintaining the precise angles of the pyramid corners extremely difficult. How do you check your corners if they're covered by a ramp? A more recent and compelling theory, proposed by French architect Jean-Pierre suggests an internal ramp. The idea is that an external ramp was used for the first third of the pyramid's height. Then, for the upper levels, they constructed a spiral ramp inside the pyramid itself, about 10 to 15 meters from the outer walls. The blocks would be pulled up this internal tunnel. This theory is fascinating because it explains certain anomalies, like a notch on the pyramid's side that could have been a corner where they turned the blocks. It also explains why there's so little evidence of a massive external ramp. It's a clever solution that fits the Egyptian mindset of efficiency. Regardless of the ramp system, the final placement of the blocks required immense skill. Using levers, rollers, and sheer manpower, teams would nudge the stones into their final position with millimeter precision. The outer casing stones were polished so smooth and fitted so tightly that you couldn't even slip a piece of paper between them. So, who were the people doing all this work? For a long time, the popular belief, thanks to Greek historian Herodotus and Hollywood, was that the pyramids were built by a huge army of slaves. However, archaeological discoveries have completely changed this picture. Excavations of a workers' village near the pyramids have revealed bakeries, breweries, and facilities for processing fish. The skeletons of the workers show they had a protein-rich diet and access to medical care. Many had healed bones, indicating they were treated for injuries, which wouldn't have been the case for disposable slaves. These were skilled, paid laborers, likely a rotating workforce of farmers who worked on the pyramids during the Nile's flood season when their fields were underwater. They were organized into teams or files with names like the Friends of Khufu Gang. They took pride in their work. We know this from graffiti they left on the blocks, hidden deep inside the pyramid, marking their team name. This was a national project, a source of pride and a way to serve their god-king, the pharaoh. It was their ticket to a stable afterlife. Building a pyramid was a project that spanned decades. Khufu's pyramid took about 20 years to complete. It was a city of workers, engineers, scribes, and priests, all dedicated to a single monumental goal. The sheer logistics are mind-boggling, feeding, housing, and organizing a workforce of perhaps 20,000 to 30,000 people. So when we look at the pyramids, we're not just seeing a pile of stones. We're seeing a masterpiece of project management, a testament to human ingenuity, and the incredible power of a shared vision. They didn't have aliens or lost ancient technology. They had something even more powerful, a deep understanding of physics, mathematics, and the natural world, combined with unparalleled social organization and the sheer will to achieve the impossible. The mystery of the pyramids isn't about what they used, but how they used what they had. And that, in itself, is more awe-inspiring than any fantasy. Thanks for joining me on this journey back in time. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more adventures into history's greatest mysteries. Let me know in the comments which ancient wonder you'd like to explore next. See you in the next video.